We are live with my fabulous friend, Maria Quattrone from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, Michelle. How are you this happy Friday?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Fantastic. Ready to rock and roll.
I want to say Quattrone, like we're in Italy.
That's right. Maria Elena Quattrone.
Okay, well, there you go. Maria Elena Quattrone is here. And Maria is a superstar and happens to be my fabulous friend. And so I'm so honored for you to be here with us today. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
I was also a guest on your podcast, which is called Be the Solution. And I love that because we talk a lot about being problem solvers in our industry. But I would love to just start by you getting to tell a little bit about yourself, Maria, because your business and your drive and your ambition and everything about you is so wonderful. And I want everyone to know it. So hit it, Maria.
All right. So, gosh, where to start?
Yeah.
I'll start how, well, I grew up with one of the oldest of 5 children. So that was interesting and fun all the time. And I started my sales career on the corner of my block selling popcorn and lemonade.
Boom.
Back in circa 1980.
Okay.
Then I decided I always picked up the mail for some reason, and I saw this mailer, and it said sell gift cards and wrapping paper, and for every item you sold, you got $1. So I was probably 11, maybe. I don't know, maybe 10, 11. And so I would go door to door, knock, knock, knock. Oh, did you hear about that? Door knocking? Knock, knock, knock. And I would ask people, would you like to buy some Christmas or Hanukkah wrapping paper or gift cards? And I would sell. The first year I sold 124. So I made $124.
Wait, when you were 11, you did this door to door?
Yes, because you know why? I had a why. My why was I wanted to buy Christmas gifts from the church bazaar for my family for Christmas.
Okay.
I was very serious about that, and I always wanted to buy people presents. It was like my
thing.
I'm generous, so
yeah.
It started a long time ago. You are who you were when you're little. You don't change.
Right. That's right.
Right. So I was always curious. I was always reading. This one summer, I decided to enter this contest for multiple sclerosis, MS.
Yeah.
And I read 52 books in the summer. And people had to, I went around to everybody. I said, listen, would you sponsor me? I handed my little card and I gave them a piece of paper. And they said, yeah, $1, 25 cents. And then I go back to collect the money. I go, I read 52 books. They were like, I owe you $52. I'm like, it's for MS. Yes, hand it up. So I've been in sales my whole life. And when I was in college, I did an internship at KYW TV, and I realized I wanted to be in the advertising sales world. So I did that internship. I had a job before I finished school. They waited. I had 2 months before I started. Started the day after. Graduated on Thursday, started on a Monday. Went right into selling advertising. I did that for 11 years. And I will tell you the first less than a year, maybe 6 months, was the worst 6 months ever in regards to working because I hated the phone. And when I got to my first job, they had a yellow notepad with a pen and some weirdo looking computer because it was 1994 and we didn't really use computers, no email, and a phone, a desk phone, and a pack of business cards. And my business card said Maria Quattrone, and I'm like, my name's Maria Elena. They're like, well, we thought that was too long, so we took it off. I'm like, but that's my name. So that's how we have just Maria now. Anyway, my boss was like, here's the yellow pages. Start looking in there and call some people. I'm like, that's my training? That's my training. So I would make a list and I write all these businesses down that I would hear on the radio. And I would want them to advertise with us, our little TV station.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd call, and then people would hang up, and then I would call again, and then I would hang up because I was afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And I played this game, hide in the bathroom, go in the car and smoke cigarettes, and hang up people. This one
very far in a commission.
No, Michelle, I was starving. I was making like,
yeah,
I don't know, no money because I quit my job working in the bar industry, which I was making like $1,000 a week cash. So
yeah,
$1,000 a week cash in '94 is pretty good. Back in when you're 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And yep. So I had my boss was really cool, Ron Smith. He said, "Why don't you go to the people's businesses and door knock, basically?" So I was like, now, back then you had to I had a suit,
yeah,
skirt, pencil skirt, stockings, high heels. I'd walk in, I'm like, "Hi, could you tell me who handles the advertising?" And they would say, "Frank, blah, blah, blah." And I say, "Oh, he's the owner? He's the owner?" I say, "Yes." I said, "When's the best time to reach him?" And I said, "Well, he's usually here on Friday mornings, and that's usually when he takes his advertising stuff." So I said, "Great, here's my card. I'm going to give a call tomorrow and schedule a time for Friday morning." She said, "Yeah, that's good." So Frank was one of my first customers. It was a furniture store. And I was wondering why everybody in the sales team only sold like 4 weeks at a time or a month at a time. I said to my boss, "Is there any reason why we're only selling 4 weeks or 6 weeks at a time?"
Of advertising? Of the advertising? That's all they sold?
Yeah, like a 6-week schedule, a 4-week schedule. I said, "Why aren't we selling like the year?" He's like, he looked at me. I said, "I have an idea. Let's do package A, B, C. We could do 13 weeks, 26 weeks, and 52 weeks. And we give them a choice." And I said, "Can we do that?" And I said, "The 52-week one, you get something free.
Yeah.
And as you get up, it's a better deal." So guess which one everybody picked?
The middle one.
The middle one. So I went from being low woman on totem pole to superstar advertising executive in less than a year.
Okay, let me interrupt you because that is brilliant. You are brilliant. This is why I am your friend. 24 years old, 23 years old, and you're actually revolutionizing, or whatever the word is, this small company you're working in and giving a customer a choice. And by giving customers a choice, and this applies to any industry where you are in sales, right? The customer feels that they are in control. And what does every customer want? They want to know they have options. I think it's fabulous. So keep going.
So now that I said all that, I'm going to make up something new here at my company today for options, more solutions, more be the solution.
Yep.
It sounds simple, Michelle, and most things are, but the simplest things are the hardest things.
Correct.
Right? So I did really well at that company. I was there for 16 months, and I worked there as a very small TV station in Linwood, New Jersey, Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I would drive over an hour every day to get there and then drive in my car for about 4 hours a day. And I wanted to get back into Philadelphia. And so all the people that turned me down in the Philadelphia radio, I called and I said, "This is what I did. I want a job at your company." And I called and I called and I called. And I got the job and I started all over again. And Philly was tough. I mean, it's not like you're going to little, back in Atlantic City and the surrounding counties. It's very rural outside of the shore.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a different persona. So now I'm in Philly radio and it's tough and the people are tough. And I became tough. That's where I learned how to sell. And I did that career for 11 years. So when I got into real estate, I already knew how to sell. I said I was selling air. Like, you can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it. The only thing you could do is hear it.
And you can't really tell you can't tell consumer, this is what your return's going to be because it's more of a general marketing and general presence, right? I mean, I've experienced that in my sales as well.
Right. So sometimes, you get results. Sometimes, you don't. I mean, sometimes you don't know. You don't know.
You don't know.
Because the days of attribution are, I think, gone, Michelle. So we have to kind of be everywhere now, right? We have radio, TV, direct mail, social media, podcasts, online, sponsored boosts. There's so many avenues. You can't do all of it. Even if I hired 10 marketing people, we couldn't still do all the marketing ideas that I have. It's literally impossible because my brain doesn't stop working on the daily. So a good friend of mine said, you should get into real estate. And I'm like, no way. I don't think so. And he's like, just talk to my business partner, Steven.
Okay.
So I did. I agreed to. And I finally met Steven. 3 setup meetings later, the third one finally happened. I asked a lot of questions. And I decided I'm going to do this. And so that was November of 2003. I decided in December. In January of 2004, I took the weekend classes while I was still employed in the radio industry. And for 3 weekends, I went back to back. I'm still working full time. I got the license really quickly. I had my first closing at the end of March of that year. I started in January, the class. My first closing was March 30th. Mm-hmm. My second closing was, I think, sometime in April, end of April, and my first one was for $399. My second one was for $1,025,000. I sold a 4-unit building on a very beautiful street in Society Hill in Philadelphia. And from there, I worked both jobs 7 days a week, probably 12 hours a day, until I left and started my full-time real estate career February 5th, 2005.
Wow. Well, that is quite the story. And I think
that brings us to the real estate.
Exactly. And, I know you've just done consistently fantastic work and you're just a driving force in the Philadelphia market. Not only there, but obviously in the United States, just top ranking for years and years and years. And there's just so much, obviously you can tell, not just your, God-given talents that I would say you have a natural gift for convincing someone to do something, right, in sales, but that you complement that with truly grit and hard work and perseverance, because it takes such thick skin to be able to get from advertising sales to what I know your numbers to be today, which are unbelievable. And there's a lot of moments, and we talked about this before, where you have felt like giving up, and who cannot relate to wanting to give up or saying this is too hard, right? This building a business is hard work. So I'd love to hear, now that we've heard all the fabulous lead up to that, I would love to actually hear, because this is what I think our consumers and our folks who watch for these kinds of interviews, they want to not feel alone. And if someone comes on and just says, yeah, I sell all this real estate and it's awesome, we actually aren't telling the whole story, are we? Because you and I both know we both struggle with things in our business and growing a business. So I would love to hear where your struggles have been and where you've personally grown. I mean, you said something that was so incredible a moment ago. Most things are just simple and we overcomplicate them. I am queen of that.
Well, I think that everybody goes through the same thing. It's just how quickly can you bounce back from it? Mm-hmm. So we all have bad days. I shared with you yesterday, I had a bad day. Mm-hmm. I've had a bad day and a half, actually. But today's a better day. Yeah. But it didn't stop me from my commitments that I had in my schedule. I had commitments that I had to honor. And I think that one of the most important things is, as long as you never, ever, 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 ever give up and you keep trying, you will eventually succeed. The other thing that I think is super important is that you put out what it is that you want into the universe, and don't think about how it's going to happen, but put it out there. So I have written down, where is it? Somewhere here. I was just looking at it last night. Excuse me. I wrote down right here.
Okay.
Real estate, it doesn't really matter. But this is in front of me every day, and these are my goals for this year. And I have it. The universe sees it. It knows about it. I don't know how it's all happening, but I'm going to take the action every single effing day to make it, to move towards that, because, and not be afraid. Everything that we want is on the other side of that. So it's getting up every day. You know, literally, I was so upset yesterday. I had to take ice cubes and put them on my eyelids because they were swollen. That's from crying, in case you people wanted to know.
Yeah.
And it happens to everybody. And if anyone's going to sit there and tell you that that's not, they never had it, it happens on every level.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because you never arrive, Michelle. You never arrive. When I entered the industry in 2005, it was me by myself. I immediately, in like, I don't even know, a month, had an assistant, or 2 months, because the paperwork was, you know, we didn't even have, you weren't doing DocuSign then. It was triplicate. It was triplicate, Michelle. You weren't even in the business yet. It was triplicate. I had to write and then rip the pages apart, and there was paper everywhere. And I'm not very good with paper. Well, not paper that I have to organize and then, you know,
contractual purpose. Right, me either.
Right. So the starting of a team was, for me, my belief, this is my belief, is that real estate done on a team is probably the best way for real estate to be done.
Yeah.
Because like you and I, we've already created the system and the processes in order for people to come in, agents, whether they're new or, you know, have some experience or season, come in, plug right into our system, which is very robust at this point. Right? It has to be, because consumers want on demand. They want to know that they're working with the best person that they can, and especially in this marketplace. I know your market's probably pretty crazy right now with no inventory, lots of multiple offers. We're not, as Philadelphia County is well, especially the downtown area, is not as crazy like that, because we got some people leaving here, but we have new people coming. But you know, having those systems, processes, and marketing, the marketing spend alone to drive buyers to our listings that's critical in this, especially now, right? Not even the buyers, because we want the sellers. It doesn't matter. You don't want to sell your house in 4 hours. You don't want to sell your house in 4 hours or a day. You want to sell your house over a week's time so that you get maximum exposure. You need an expert in the marketplace to walk you through that today. So the days of, you know, doing a few deals a year, I think that business is going to be over very soon, if it's not over already.
I completely agree with that. And I think that that's the biggest conversation I have with agents who inquire about why they should join our team or what the benefits would be of joining a team. The conversation around being a specialist, and the conversation around, look, this is why we have people that only list houses. This is why we have people that only work with buyers. This is why we have a whole team of people that get this contract from the moment it goes under contract to the time it closes. This is why specialist doctors make the most money as compared to a generalist doctor, right? We want to be specialists, because when you're a specialist, you attain mastery so much faster. And being all things to all people, as we know, is just overrated. Would you agree?
Well, I would definitely agree to that. You can't, if you are trying to be everything, you don't please anybody.
No.
So you have to figure out what it is that you want. You have to draw a hard line in the sand and move towards that on a daily basis. So what does that look like? Well, if you're a listing agent, that looks like you're calling for listings. If you're a buyer's agent, that means you're working with those buyers and you're following up, but nonstop, pretty much on the daily at this point.
Yeah.
Or if you're a team leader and you're recruiting, and it's a lot of work to own a real estate company, right?
It is. It's a lot
because you have to
of
be,
pieces. And I think that the work part comes in both with our consumer and our team is that it's people. And we're not in we sell, like our slogan is, we're in the people business. We just happen to sell houses. And it's true because we're in a people business where we're managing relationships, we're managing all of the transactions from start to finish. And as we know, people are people, and you cannot predict people and what they will do. And I always say to our people, we require two things: no drama, because real estate is filled with drama. And number two, you must be open to feedback, because as people, we're not always going to get it right. Right. And I have plenty of days. I talked about this last week on a podcast where I go home and I think was not my best self today. I was not my best leader self today. My ego got in the way, or my just lack of experience, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, but that's the only way we get better. Would you agree with that?
yeah. It's about building community. When I meet with agents right now, I sit there, I tell them the truth about all of it. Very transparent, very open. And I want to know that they're open as well and aware. Because when the going gets tough and we have to have that tough conversation, I want them to remember that day that we had the conversation about what that's going to look like. Right? So always like working future pacing, whether it's with a client or with what the expectations are. Here's what it looks like. Here's what's going to happen. And I want you to know, because of all the client, I want you to understand right now, real estate's it's a difficult thing. There's all kinds of craziness with COVID and this and that. I will let you know there's going to be some bumps in the road. It's not going to be perfect. It's just not. But what I will tell you is that our experience, we are able to walk you through this. And at the end of the day, get to that settlement table, know that we have your back and this will happen. So we are solution oriented. I came up with that, be the solution, because I built my career, Michelle, on calling expired listings. I wanted listings. I'm like, what? I want that sign and that listing. I want the listings. I used to say to my old broker, how do you get the listing? I got the buyer. How do I get the listing?
Mm-hmm.
You thought I was a real nut, because I was obsessed with the listing. He said, well,
I think that it paid off today, wouldn't you say?
I didn't know about expires for 2 years. I was in the business. I didn't know. So I worked for a tiny little company. Didn't know anything about any of it. No systems, no processes. Wild, Wild West. And when I tell you the Wild, Wild West, it was the Wild, Wild West. Had a good time, but craziness. And then I realized that in order to do a lot of business, that you need to have systems and processes in place. And if not, it's a mess, a hot mess. So even today, we're constantly upgrading, constantly adding to what we're doing. Upgrading our marketing, upgrading our, growing our spend.
Yeah.
I mean, our marketing spend is pretty large at this point. Mm-hmm. But you have to constantly be retuning, and it's not, so tiny hinges swing big doors, right? It's a little tweak that we do that makes all the difference. It isn't anything spectacular. What's the difference? I talk to my people, my database, my clients, my agents, my staff all the time about why be the solution. Why is that our mantra? It's because when I went back into the expires, I got hired by people who have been on the market 2 or 3 times. They could not get sold. I told them that we will get this sold. I am the solution to get this sold. I know exactly what needs to happen. There are 57, more now, 100 things. And if they're not all done, this house may not sell. And guess what? I don't know which one of them is going to make it sell, so I need to do all of them. All of them. And I look at these listings and I can see why the things in itself. Oh, don't get me wrong. We don't sell every single listing, by the way, either. Sometimes the clients are just not amenable to what the real price is.
Yeah.
You have to let them go. So let's not pretend like you know, it's not because and it's always not because uh, of the agent. It could be because of the seller. It could be because of the stupid way that the access was. You couldn't really access the property. There's so many things, but you have to be solution oriented no matter what it is that you're doing. You could be selling ice cream and you better be solution oriented, scooping the ice cream. We always use that analogy because Dara, she's my broker record, she'll say, even if this was an ice cream business, there'd be problems with the ice cream.
Isn't that true? I mean, it doesn't matter. And that's why I love to talk to entrepreneurs in other industries, because it helps me see that it's not just a real estate industry problem. It's a problem in running any business. And with any great success, there's going to be great sacrifice and problems. There's just going to be problems you have to solve all the time.
All the time. You know what, though? I've recently been thinking about it, and I'm accepting of that. I'm going to say that again. I'm accepting of the fact that there's going to be problems, and I'm going to get stronger as a leader so that when they arise and all this other shit that has come to my life that's problematic in some ways in my personal life, that I'm going to continue to be able to handle it, because it's not expecting, right? And not expecting from people, but accepting that there will be things that will happen, but this too shall pass.
Yes, for sure. All right, we have a few minutes left. I want to hear, I know you've been very, very busy. Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that with a very small but powerful team, you all sell a ton of real estate. So last year you sold 30 units, helped 230 different clients, and which is over 60 million in volume, with you, one other, and an admin staff. And that, if anybody that sells real estate is watching, knows that helping that many people almost one a day is a lot for a big team, much less a very small team. But I want to know what's on the horizon for Maria Quattrone. What are the next steps for you, Maria? Well, I know you're attracting agents. Obviously, you have more opportunities than you can service. So talk to us about that and where people can find you, all of that stuff.
Yeah, so we are in the process of growing the company. I stayed small purposely for many years. It's what I wanted to do at the time. Back in 2014, I decided I was going to go back to being Maria with a strong support staff around me, and then brought Dara in. And so Lisa, Dara, and that's a bunch of support. And then we just, at the end of last year, started with a couple agents, Stephen and Magda. They just joined us. But what I worked on for those from 15, 16, 17, 18, 5 years is to build the marketing machine. So the marketing machine now, I explain it like it's a big 5,000-pound steel wheel. And it takes a lot to get that moving, a lot. And you're pushing it and you're pushing it. And then you know what happens when the steel wheel starts to move?
Unstoppable.
It's unstoppable. So now that we've gotten all these other things underway, it is time to build a company with our community, with people that are like-minded, like us, and that have grit and heart. And we can't teach hard work ethic, and we can't teach grit and integrity. So those are the things that we look for. I don't care if you've never sold real estate in your life. I don't care if you come from the poorest neighborhood in Philadelphia. None of those things matter. What matters is who you want to be and what you're willing to do to get there. And so I look for people that have come from maybe some difficulties in their life, people that really want it. Because what I found is that I wanted it more for everybody else than they wanted it for themselves in the past. And I'm not playing that game anymore. So we are growing. We are excited about it. We're hiring. I'm hiring at all times for all positions. Okay. I'm not going to be left Actually, I'm going to overhire. I'm working on overhiring right now because the company is going to grow and you can't be in the weeds, which I've been in the weeds and it's not fun. I know you've been in the weeds.
Yes.
It's not fun. So we have a lot going on. It's very exciting. And I'm excited about the future, the next 24 months of growth and, rolling up the sleeves and doing the hard work that it requires and in myself, still working on myself and being better and being a stronger leader and being the solution.
Well, Maria, you are one of the most humble, hardworking women I know. And I think if I lived closer to Philadelphia, I would be honored to work with you because I think that you can't teach certain aspects of being a magnet to attract agents and people in your life. And I'm one that is just attracted to being your friend. And that's because you are just so genuine. You have such great will to help others. You're so generous with your time. Anytime I have a question about how you've done something, you are just always willing to help me as well. And I just want to say that to anybody that's looking to build a team or be on a team with you to help build something that's really special. I just don't think that they make Maria Quattrones on every block. So,
and they don't make Michelle Humes on every block. You've been very, very generous with all that you've given in the group that we were in together. And I'm very thankful and grateful because we utilized some of the things that you shared as part of our agent onboarding. So,
of course. I think that that's the great thing about, I was having this discussion yesterday about helping others, without financial reward. I think that that's being generous with your time and your talents and your resources. You can't really put a price on that. And, when you come from generosity and from just contribution, I think that you can't lose. Maybe others will say, well, don't give that out because, then they'll copy you. What if they outperform you or they steal business or take business? You know what?
It happens, but you know what?
There's business for everybody.
Yeah, but you know what, though? You know what the secret sauce is that they don't have?
Tell me.
You.
There you go. Or you.
People can steal all the ideas that they want, and so many things of my proprietary information has been stolen over the years. I could be bitter about it. I choose not to. Yeah. I mean, there was a time I probably was. I could say that, yes, I was. Yeah. But today, in today's world, there's no time for that. There's no time.
Exactly. I think that the social media, especially with just the development of social media, which is awesome because of, friendships like ours, you get to have contact with people, keep up with each other, keep up with your business and the children and all the things, the families. But it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to go down the path of, well, what's happening with them? It's easy to compare someone's outside story to what's happening in here. And it's just not productive, right? I think we could all agree on that it's very easy to compare or look and get distracted, shiny object syndrome, and look at all the different things. And yet, if you'll focus on a couple of key things, mostly within ourselves, right? Turns out that the improvement starts there. And then it's a rocket ship after that. So
that's right. It's making the decision. It's making the decision. What is it that you want? Everybody says what they don't want, but what is it that you want? Making the decision, writing it down, looking at it. I'll show you something real quick because I know before we end. So I went to a RE/MAX conference a couple years ago, the broker owner, and they give you the lantern, and then they give you these like little things you put on there.
Yeah.
So these little things came in my. Can you see it?
I see multi-office owner. What's the second one say? 100 plus associates.
So this was in my little thing. So I, like the way that I am, I go walking back up to them and I'm like, I said, these aren't mine. I want them to be mine. I said, but they're not mine. And I went to go back to her. I said, "Oh," I said, "You know what? Would you mind if I hold on to it? I kept this."
I
And
love
she's like, "Yeah, Marie, you can have that."
I'm gonna do
So,
something like that too.
Michelle, I kept it.
Yeah.
I put it on my computer here. It's in my put it in the universe.
I love it.
Okay, so we'll check back on this.
I want to see that when that happens.
We're going to see at the end of year where we are with that, but I can tell you that we're going to be moving towards that right there.
I have a very similar piece of paper. It's right here. It's stuck in these papers. I was going to show you the same thing. I'll text it to you. It's the same thing. Oh, here it is. When I started, I made a list of all the things that were going to happen, and it's here on my desk. And I've surpassed some of the things that I wrote down, but I wrote that down 5 years ago, right when I started, and I didn't even know what I was writing down. So I know it's going to happen to you, and writing it down and believing it will happen is, I think, 75% of the battle.
It certainly is.
Yeah. Maria, it is such a pleasure. If people want to find you, if they want to reach out and find out how to join your team, all of the things, please give us your links now of where they can reach out.
Yeah, mqrealestate.com. They can go there.
MQ?
Yeah, mqrealestate.com.
Okay.
Also, I'm on Facebook. They can direct message me on Facebook, on Messenger.
Okay.
They call me, 215-607-3535. Email me at maria@callmq.com.
You're everywhere. It's Quattrone, like the pizza, right? Like
Quattrone.
Like the good.
401.
Exactly. Maria, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for being a guest on Michelle Hume's Live. It is, your time is precious. I know that. And I know you have a very busy day and weekend ahead of you. So thank you so much. And we will do it again very soon.
Michelle, thank you so much. I'm grateful and blessed for your friendship. And I love all the things that you're doing. So keep rocking it.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you soon in
Absolutely.
the flesh.
You got it. We've got to. Take care. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.